Happy Tuesday morning, everybody. It's a DFS Minute brought to you by Chapadong and DFSArmy.com, your one-stop shop for all things daily fantasy sports, every tool, all of the coaching under one roof, one price. We don't outsource our products. We keep them all in-house. Use the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, down there in the comments section to become a VIP today. Earn 20% off each and every month. And also, if you want to, visit our free offers tab out there on the website. Maybe you qualify for one of the free trials. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about NBA again. It seemed that it helped a lot of people yesterday kind of walking through the research station in a simple way to look for floor and upside. And so we're going to do that again today by request. And if you got something out of it yesterday and you get something out of it again today, I would really appreciate running down there to the bottom of the screen, hitting like, subscribing to the channel, clicking the notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that I do drop. And we will rock and roll here in just a minute. We got some good results, and I'm getting questions in the NBA room. I'm not the NBA guy. I'm not an NBA god. I'm not, I'm profitable in the sport, I guess, but I lean so much on our coaches. I lean so much on our research and our projections and our optimizer and things that I can come up with a pretty simple way to kind of dissect the slate. You're going to have to put your own unique twist, your own unique thoughts, your own parameters on things, and that's what's going to separate you from me as well as us from everybody else, and hopefully you get the same type of results that I'm getting as well. First place that I dive into in the research station, since we're talking NBA and FanDuel and the Miracle 400, whatever, is I'm trying to find some of that upside. What's going to get me there? Because if you do the simple math that we've been doing all this time, I don't know how many guys are in a FanDuel roster. Is it 8 or 9? Either way, you've got about $50,000, $60,000. I know the math. I don't need to calculate it because I can't think of the exact numbers. But what used to be a 300 lineup was 5x for everybody's salary, on the average up and down your lineup. 300 ain't getting it done anymore. You need 350, you need 380, you need to touch that 400 if you want to win one of those bigger GPPs with 20, 30, 40,000 people in it or more. You're just going to have to do that. So you're going to need more than that. You need to be looking, in my opinion, at 5.5 to maybe 6x on FanDuel. And I'll show you again how we look at those numbers. The first thing I do in the research station is I sort by descending order the and one rating, catch-all metric, matchup metric. Those at the top tend to have better matchups and better talent and better scoring averages and better things going for them on paper than those at the bottom. You'll find all of your big names up there: Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, Giannis again, Gordon Hayward, Marcus Smart. That's an interesting one for so cheap. We'll have to look into him. TJ Warren, Jamal Murray, Jokic, whatever. These are the guys that should be in the bulk of a lot of lineups because they're the guys most likely to perform very, very well. What I'm going to focus on, though, is these numbers, this section over in here, the projection numbers. Now, projections are what they are, but we can use these numbers to determine quite a bit. I can look at the value number. If you don't know what value is simply what his projected points are divided by his price per thousand. 54.7 gets me 5.2x at a 10.6 thousand price point. Okay, so we're looking for a little more than 5x here. It doesn't mean these guys are bad plays. It means we're hoping that they do a little bit better than their projection. And we can come down to a guy here at 5.9x at Danilo Gallinari and say he's almost at 6x right away. Down here, Van Vliet's projecting at 6x right away. If they just hit their projections, they're bringing us 6x. They don't need to outperform their projections to get us to that 6x. They're kind of already there. Those are indicators that these guys are in a good spot today. The projections are identifying them for you outright, just right off the bat. They're in a good spot. So we also look for things like the ceiling value and the floor value. Your floor number, that's a bottom end number. It doesn't mean the guy can't go below that. We saw Giannis go below that last night. It means that he's only going to do it about 25% of the time. He's only going to be below that number about 25% of the time. Same with ceiling. It means he's only going to be above that number about 25% of the time. So somewhere between 50 and 60% of the time, the number's going to be somewhere between 35 and 74 for Anthony Davis. If he hits his floor and has one of those proverbial bad nights, then he's bringing 3.3x. That's awfully far away from the 5x, 6x that we're hoping for, but it may or may not kill you. See, like a 4x here isn't going to kill you like a 2x would here. So you're going to use this number to kind of think about these players. How strong a spot is he really in? Is his floor higher than that guy in a different position or the guy at the same price point or whatever? Is his floor projected to be better? Then you might consider him safer, right? So that would be kind of a cash game type of number. But I use it in tournaments too because I want guys that get their floors. I want guys with high floors in tournaments too because what I want is a guy with both floor and ceiling. I'd prefer him hit his ceiling, but I still want his floor to be as high as possible. I'll look over here at the ceiling number and I see the ceiling value, which is the same thing. Instead of 5x, if he hits the ceiling tonight, it's 7x. That's okay. That's not the 10x that's going to smash everything. But you know what? The 10x out of Anthony Davis is awfully hard to get to because he's already priced so darn high. Yeah, we know that he's put up 90 points or whatever in a night before, but it's very, very rare because his ceiling, his 75, percent number that, or is, I guess, 25% of the time he's over 75. So the 25% number here is only 7x. That's a long way to go to get to 8x and 9x. Doesn't mean that it's a bad play though. I'm looking for the combination. 2.5, I usually look for those that ask, 3 to 3.5x here and about 8x or better over here. If I see that combination, I'm going to think that's a pretty strong play. We'll see what we get. I'm going to sort through the projections here by position, right? And then we'll talk about loading them into the optimizer. We'll pause and we'll come back. So if I look at point guards only tonight, I see that the and one rating, it's where I start, 16.5 drops to 13, drops to 10, whatever. So these are the guys I'm generally going to be looking at. Somebody like CG is going to just give these guys all a boost in the domination station. I'm going to be a little bit more selective. I'm going to also look at ADVP a little bit and look for a positive green number. These are all just minor things. You would be very, very wrong if you use these as black and white checkbox rules where you only, oh, he's not a positive number, so he's out. No, you just use it in terms of maybe how much you like a guy. And that might go, if you're building, say, 100 lineups, that might go more towards, instead of 40%, I want him in 50% of my lineups, or I want him in 60% of my lineups. That's where that's going to sway the mark. If you're only building one lineup, there are going to be some decisions you need to make, some tiebreakers you need to ask, and that may be the tiebreaker that pushes the guy over the edge for you and says, okay, I will take this guy as opposed to that guy. They're both in very, very similar spots, but this guy's got a little bit more going for him than that guy, so I'll start my building there. That's up to you if you're a single lineup or a small lineup builder versus a big mass multi-entry type of guy, okay? But that's how you would use these things. They sway your opinion. But I'm going to start here, and this is going to tell me a little bit of positional scarcity, where if the number really drops off, there's only one or two guys up here, and this isn't necessarily the case, but last night we saw a guy at a 20 something, and then the next drop off was like a 15. That's a big drop off. That tells me the 20 something guy is probably pretty important. Okay, but it again doesn't always work that way because if you watched last night in power forward, we came off of those two guys up top and came down to the cheaper guys because there were other big gaps at other positions that were more important to our build than those that didn't quite make the cut at power forward. So we took some cost savings there. Again, it's an ebb and flow. Now, remain flexible, keep your mind open as we walk through these things. I'm just saying I would start here, and I would say these guys are probably going to be on my list. I see a bad defensive matchup here potentially. I see a good one here potentially. Maybe that weighs into my consideration. I will also look at the minutes. I want to see guys in the 30s. I will take guys in the 20s or 26, whatever, if they're projected to have some sort of scenario that leads to more minutes. Last night, Keg called out Shabazz Napier, and it was an outstanding call at 0.8% or whatever. He said, I see a scenario where this could go into the blowout range, and Shabazz comes in and soaks up all the minutes, and he can be a scorer. He has upside, and so I'm going to take a shot on it. And boom, it worked. As opposed to a chump like me who sat out there and said Giannis looks great on paper. He has a high floor and he's in a great matchup. I'm going to take a lot of Giannis and dud, thunk, crash, kaboom. It was over in a hurry for me. But these are the types of things, again, you've got to think your way through, and you can use these indicators to find them. I look for a value number here in terms of a guy that's already looking to hit that 5.5 to 6x number if I can find it. Then I find a few point guards that are already in that position. So look at Terry Rozier. He's getting minutes, right? 5.9 projection. The domination station will probably like him. 5.6, 5.7, 30 minutes plus. Fox and Brogdon probably going to like them. 26 minutes down here for who is that? That's Derrick Rose. If a scenario opens up minutes for Derrick Rose, he's already projected pretty well in the matchup. It might not be a bad pivot or a bad thing to go to, but I'll put that on the back burner for now. I'm going to come over here to the floor value and look for guys 3.3x, 3.0, 3.1. That looks like about the best I'm going to get, so I might start with these guys. Does he also have a ceiling? He does, 8x. De'Aaron Fox is going to be high on my list tonight. 5.6x projected, 33 minutes, positive matchup, high and 1 rating, big floor at 3.3x comparative to the position, and an 8.0x ceiling. Boom, checks all the boxes. De'Aaron Fox is going to be high on my list tonight. I expect him to be high on the coaches' lists tonight. 2.9 is almost a 3.0. 8.5 ceiling is great, 32 minutes or so. Malcolm Brogdon, probably going to be on my list. I would go into Domination Station and I would boost these guys' projections later on today when I start building my lineups. 6.8x ceiling, I don't know. Probably not. They've got a decent floor, but not much of a ceiling. I want a guy with both. 2.8x, 9.0. See, I will see this 9, and this will allow me to come down off my 3.5 here and say 2.8, not bad. I'm looking for him in tournaments to test the 9.0. So Terry Rozier, I'm going to look into him, look and see if his minutes are secure, if if his matchup is there, whatever. And I'm going to listen to the coaches talk during today in the NBA rooms and see if they can't help me get more excited about Terry Rozier. I'm going to let them go do all the digging, the deep diving. I've just got these guys on my short list. And I can do this for every single position. 1.8 is a little bit low. 9.4 is nice. You might get a ceiling game if minutes open up for a Kai Bowman. That's not Kai Bowman. Is it TJ McConnell? It's TJ McConnell. I don't care. I don't know the guy. I don't need to know the guy. My coaches will alert me. I'll write him down on a short list, and my coaches will alert me to the fact that he either is a playable guy by 4 or 5 p.m. or a unplayable guy. And so I'm going to focus on these 3 or 4 guys. I might have a couple other names written down, and I'm just going to rock through all of the positions. I'll help you go through these positions, then I'll go set up DS, and I'll show you how we did it. So I'm looking here again, 2.5x, 3.0x, these are big ceiling guys. So I probably wouldn't mind taking any of them. As long as the minutes are secure, maybe not so much Bogdanovic here, but Marcus Smart, Buddy Hield, sure. Come down here, 3.6 and 8.5. There's a good combo. High floor, high ceiling, high minutes. Give me some Van Vliet tonight. I'll boost his projection. I'm all the way down here. Look at the 5.3x floor, the 6.8x projection, 8.3x ceiling. Oladipo again? Man, I know he's been dudding on people lately, but something's going. The projections are the projections, and if you trust the projections, you're going to have some Oladipo tonight. Unless your coaches give you a fundamental reason to talk you off of him. And that's where I would ask the coaches. I would say, look, these are the numbers. They're popping all over the projections. Why aren't we talking Oladipo tonight? Why isn't he a lock? Help me dig deeper. If that's your game and you want to learn, help me dig deeper and find the stats that scare you guys off of him. Nothing may scare them off of him. They may be trumpeting him all day long. I don't know yet. It's 9 a.m. But what I do know is that that is a sick, sick set of numbers the way I look at the research station. 3.4 and a 7.6. 7.6 is a little bit low. 3.4 is nice, though. Middleton, back-to-back nights, though, don't know. But I might look at a little bit of Middleton. 2.58x here. Don't know. Devontae Graham. 2.9, 8.3. Look at all the shooting guards with big ceilings. That shouldn't shock you. Position's rather volatile. 3.2, 8.4. Jordan Poole, if he's set to get minutes, I might like it. Got a decent matchup. 5.8 on the projection already, the median projection. Might not be a bad way to look. And that kind of rounds it out for these guys. We go small forward. We would expect big priced guys to have low ceilings, but very secure floors. 3.4, 3.8x for LeBron James and Giannis. 6. Giannis is interesting tonight. You want to play a little game theory? Bounce back night. Maybe he sucked last night. Maybe he's pissed about his performance last night. He's in another positive matchup today. Maybe he goes out and smashes. I don't know. Maybe he's on a little bit of a cold streak. I don't know. but he's going to scare a lot of people off. And I'll bet if his ownership was supposed to be 25% today, I'll bet it's really more like 20% because people are going to be scared of what he did to them last night. And that's what we call a bounce back spot. And it's worthy of consideration. I'm not saying it's a lock. I'm saying it's worthy of consideration. You can make a lot of money on bounce backs when they work. They don't always work. 3.8x for LeBron, though, is a high floor. Here's a little 3x, 7.8x Gordon Hayward, 2.0, 2.3, 3.3, 7.8 Jaylen Brown, 3.5, 7.5, 4.0, 8.0 almost. Gallinari, we already identified him at a 5.9x, 32 minutes, positive matchup. Gallinari probably would be somebody I would boost projections on tonight. 3.3, 7.5, 2.6, 7. See, there's not a lot to love in this position. So we might actually go up to a LeBron or something tonight and pay for this high floor and this lower ceiling to lock up a bunch of points if we can't find another way to spend some money tonight. All of these things are on the table as you're walking through the slate. You can also boost all of their projections in the domination station and let the thing do the work for you. Let the machine work. 3.3, 7.0, 3.3, 7.0, 3.7, 7.2, Sabonis. Okay. These are lower ceilings than I'd like to see, but they're good floors. 2.8, 8.0x, Daniel Theis. I probably would have some Daniel Theis. 3.8, 7.8, almost 8.0. Serge Ibaka. Probably would have some Ibaka. Because they're giving me a floor comment, especially Ibaka, giving me a floor option with that ceiling. That's what I'm looking for. Come down here a little bit more. I mean, I'm not completely ignoring these guys. The 8.7 ceiling out of Kuzma is nice, but something needs to happen for him to get into, like a Davis injury. Could happen. You want to bank on that? I don't know if I do. Very, very low floor. I mean, take a few shots on him in a tournament. You don't care if he hits his floor. You're aiming for his ceiling. 2.0, 9.3, you could put some Pascal in there. Maybe something happens in his way. But see, a 3.4 and a 6.1, I don't know that I'd be all that high on Zion Williamson tonight. That's weird because Zion's been smashing. That's weird. I would watch my coaches on this one. See, when I see numbers that conflict and I go, ooh, I don't really like it, and then I scroll over here and I look at the guy's name and go, whoa, that's somebody that I've really been interested in lately, I'm going to let my coaches tell me about him. I might end up liking him a lot tonight. I don't know. I'm going to let my coaches tell me about him. On paper, I'm going to remember today, though, that ceiling's pretty low for some reason. Maybe we've seen a big price spike. That doesn't look like a huge price spike. In fact, it's actually down a little bit. Weird. Very, very weird. Very, very weird. Maybe it's a tough matchup. I don't know. Maybe there's some injury news or something. I don't know. But that really confuses me out of the gate tonight, and I'm going to let my coaches tell me about that. 2.7, 8.3. Is that Christian Wood? No, that's Draymond Green. Okay, so Green. 4.0, 10.5. Hello, Harry Giles. You are a little bit underpriced today. 7.3x automatically in your median projection, 28 minutes, which isn't terrible. Obviously, there's a mistake in the ADVP for him, but at 4,000, looks like a good value play. Everyone would take 4.0 floor, a 7.3x night, and then run off and spend their money elsewhere. So do that. Don't get cute. I would boost him in projections even more, and I'll show you why in a little while. Center, last position. I know this video is running long, guys, but this is trying to teach you guys how to use these tools. 3.4, 7.1, 2.8, 7.9, Miles Turner, 2.4, 7.8, 2.7, 10.2, Wendell Carter. If there is something that the coaches like, I'm going to like me some Wendell Carter. 3.0, 7.0, 1.4, 9.6. McGee down here. Not a lot to like at the center spot tonight. Marquise Chris, I don't know. If that was the case, I'd probably put a couple of check marks on a couple of these guys. The and one rating here, these few guys would probably get the nod. And you're just going to mix it and match it and let it go. If I was only building one lineup tonight, I have no idea where I would go here. So, that said, I'm going to cruise back through these positions. I'm going to set up domination station. I'm going to come back and show you what I did. All right, I'll be right back. All right, now I've got domination station set up, and I want to go back to research station to show you one thing here in a second. But here's how I do it on my first run. It's not, I'm not saying this is the way to do it. 25 lineups on a first run just to kind of make it a little bit faster. Server mode, 2 uniques, tournament mode. I put a little bit of randomness in there personally because I just like to. And 75% max on everybody in the player pool because I don't want somebody in all my lineups like Giannis last night. But to go back to the research station really, really quickly, I wanted to show you something here over in the power forward side because when we look at those top 3 guys, I told you high floor, low ceilings or lower ceilings. And I'm looking 3.3 and 7, 3.3 and 7, 3.7 and 7.2. This is probably the best guy, right? In terms of high floor, higher ceiling of those three guys. I come over here, 35 minutes, projected at 5.4x, decent matchup. And one rating's not quite as high as some of these other guys. But I look and it's Domantas Sabonis. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, and Sabonis. If all three of those guys were the same price, which one would you take? The 3370, 3370, or 3772? Probably the 3772. Now, what if it was cheaper than everybody else? You'd probably really like it, right? Now, again, I'm not saying that Sabonis is some all-in play tonight. I'm saying that of those three, that would probably be maybe my favorite one, barring other things coaches are going to say. I'm only looking at things on paper. I'm only looking at the numbers. I'm going to lean on the coaches to interpret the actual situation for me. But going into today, I'm going to look at that number and say, okay, I would probably prefer to have more Sabonis than Anthony Davis to save the money, to get the chance. If they're going to both produce, that multiplier number, 3, 7, and 7, 2, fine. If at the end of my build, though, I have more money left over, I would definitely buy up to Anthony Davis. I wouldn't sit there with, if I had, I don't know, at the end of my build, my last spot, and I haven't got a power forward in there yet, and I'm looking at, say, $11,000 left over in my cap, of course I'm taking Anthony Davis. I'm not saying, well, the multiplier is better for Sabonis, so I'll take the money. No, when money's no object, I'm buying up. Because what I'm doing is I'm buying from the ceiling of 60 points, I'm buying up to Anthony Davis's ceiling of 75 points. I'd rather buy the points. You know what I mean? I'd rather buy the points, but if money is an object, or we're earlier in our builds and whatnot, I'd probably focus here on a little bit higher floor multiplier, ceiling multiplier, and a little bit cheaper cost, because it may afford me the money to do something somewhere else. I can always come back later and say, golly, I've got $3 grand left on the table. I can drop Sabonis and take Anthony Davis. Okay, so that's just another thing to consider when you're learning to build these lineups. So when I ran through the domination station, I put those parameters in place. I went through and I liked and I loved on Odort or whatever, all of my guys, right? So just to show you a couple of them here, there's my point guards, Fox, Brogdon, Bledsoe, Rozier. We told you about all of those. Shooting guard, I got a lot of them. That's probably too many, but they're wide open tonight. And so I'm really just trying to keep from getting anybody but those guys for the most part. Not as many small forwards. 5 or 6. And that's generally, I try to keep it between 4 and 6 guys that I really, really like, you know. But watch this centers. I didn't like any of them. None of them stood out to me. I'm just going to let the projections do that. Might land me on some favors. I don't care. I'm going to control that through my ownership of my lineups as projected ownerships come out. But when I scroll down, look at the first run, knowing this is going to be demolished in 3 hours, it's going to be completely different information. This is just a first run to get a feel for things. Lots of Giannis, lots of Zach LaVine. I didn't even like Zach LaVine in the research station. There must be extra money left over somewhere, and the optimizer decided that he was the most cost effective or the best way to buy up some points. These I liked. Rose, I didn't like him. We mentioned him, but I didn't adore him or love him or anything. Harry Giles, we did. Devontae Graham, LeBron James, Terry Rozier. Satoransky didn't. No, Van Vliet's way low. So if I wanted Van Vliet to come up even more, so watch the default score of 33.86 versus mine of 38.93 after putting the adore on him. If I want more Van Vliet, fine. I'm going to get me some more damn Van Vliet. And he's going to come up off of 36%. Because if I wanted him in, say, 50% of my lineups because he was only going to be 20% owned tonight and I thought he was in a smash spot, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run down here and I'm going to give myself some more damn Van Vliet. Now I got him in 64% of my lineups. That's how I'm going to adjust that number. Once I've done the adore thing, I'm not done. Some people stop there and say, well, if it's not enough to get him into our lineups, then he must not be good enough tonight. Yeah, their method works too. I'm going to take even more control of that and say, F that, I want the guy. If I don't want Terry Rozier in more than, say, 44% of my lineups, I can also cap him down to 20%. Run it again. And as that thing cruises through the lineups, you're going to see still a lot of Van Vliet, and you're going to see 20% of Terry Rozier. So when I see, where'd Van Vliet go? There, Van Vliet's 52% of my lineups in this run, and Terry Rozier's down here in 20% of my lineups, just like my cap. This is how I control things, and I rerun and rerun and rerun this optimizer forever until I start getting it where I like it. It's pulling some guys in, it's pulling some guys, and then I'm finally satisfied with it. Click download, boom, move off to, quarters or dollars or nickels or whatever the hell it is that you play. And that's one way to control these things. That's one way to control. Another thing that you can do when you get to the end here, we don't have ownerships right now, but you could build, if you wanted to build 50 lineups, you could make 60 lineups, and you could go to fantasy points, sort by percent owned, sort, and it will reorganize these lineups here by the overall team ownership. And it's going to add all of these numbers up, and it's going to give you kind of a chalk rating. The higher the number, the more chalky the lineup is. And you could take these and you can hit the little trash can here and go blink, 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 blink on the 10 highest, and then run the 50. You want to run 50 lineups? You throw the 10 highs out. You got 50 lineups left. Download those and run those. You got 50 of the lower owned optimal lineups for your setup. But you're going to have to play with this machine and learn how it works and learn how to use it and go up and down and up and down and mess around with this stuff and take a couple of stands on people. Like if I don't want Zach LaVine and I see he's projected at 30%, I might take him down to 10% or 15% and take that chance tonight. I might not. After I read the coach's notes or some news breaks or whatever, I might say, hell, he's only projected at 35%. I want 75% of the guy. Whatever way it works. That's how you're going to work this stuff in and out, up and down, all around, and come up with unique lineups. And the ultimate unique lineup creator is a little bit of randomization and more uniques. The more uniques I get, the more I spread out. The more things tend to shuffle around. And also, when you saw the 20% Terry Rozier, that's where tournament mode comes in very, very importantly. Optimal mode would put Terry Rozier in the top, say, how many lineups is 20% of 25? 5. It'd put him in the top 5 lineups. Let's go look and see if he's in. Is there a Terry Rozier in here? No. Is there Terry Rozier in here? Yes. Here, yes. Here, yes. Here, no. So in the top 5 lineups, he's only in 3. If it was optimal mode, he'd be in all 5. Because it's in tournament mode, he's only in 3. It took 2 of them and it shuffled them down the list of ways. That's where you get that better mix that people talk about when you play with tournament mode. You could have a guy capped at 40%, and if the optimizer loves him and was trying to put him in 100% of your lineups, he's going to be in the top 40% of your lineups. But if you put it in tournament mode, he will still be in a lot of those top 40% of your lineups, but he will mix around a little bit better. That's what that mode does. All right, hopefully this is enough for you guys to go on. I know it's 30 minutes. I know it's long. I apologize. I went into some more details, took my time a little bit more today because I wanted to show you the tools. I wanted to show you how much I lean on coaching. I wanted to show you how much I massage this machine to get what I want, even though I'm leaning on it. But honestly, I could do this in 30 minutes. I can go through the research station, go plink, 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 adore all of those people in the research station, put my 75% cap on it, run it, come back, look at the ownership projections. I want more of this guy. I want less of this guy. Run it. I want more of this guy. I want less of this guy. Run it. I want more of this guy, less of this guy. Run it. Go check my coaches' sheets. Oh, they mentioned this guy. I'll throw him in there. Boost his projection. Oh, they didn't mention this guy, so I'll tamp him down from 50% to 30%. And I'm just playing with that as I go throughout the day. And in 30 minutes, I can have lineups downloaded and thrown in. It doesn't take a lot of time anymore. The projections in the machines do it for you. So you need to open up access to these. And if you're not a member or a VIP, you can't open up all these tools. And imagine being able to do this in 30 minutes in NASCAR, hockey, golf, MMA, baseball when it comes around, football when it comes around, basketball, of course, all of the sports that we do. Get all of the coaching, all of the answers to your questions. I gave you a couple of tips. Why not? Why is Oladipo jamming all over these projections? Guys, sell me on Oladipo. Tell me why you don't like him if you don't like him. Get the discussion going. Start learning where these coaches look for their numbers, what tools they use, what process they use. And then through all of that mess, formulate your own process. Because you've got all of these resources inside DFS Army at your disposal, all of the tools, all of the cheat sheets, all of the coaching, everything, if you're a VIP. And you use that CHOP code, CHOP, to get that 20% discount, which actually makes it only $5 a month more than the light membership, which is tools only, no coaching. For $5 a month, who wouldn't take the coaching? You're already spending $30 a month or whatever it is. Take the extra $5. It's a coffee a day, whatever. So hopefully I see you guys on the inside. You can look me up, ask me any question that you want to. If I don't know the answer, I'll point you to the guys that do. Talk to me out on Twitter, talk to our coaches out on Twitter or in the wherever it is. But get out of this what you want. And you're only going to do that by diving in and unlocking all of the tools for yourself. Hopefully I see you on the inside, guys. This has been Tuesday. We will talk to you soon.